Urgent, Vikings fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Vikings announce hiring of head performance dietitian Ben Hawkins. Look good, fuel good, play good. Don't mind the minor change to a phrase popularized by an NFL icon. Minnesota on Friday announced Ben Hawkins as its head performance dietitian, Joe Distor Jr. as its new head strength coach, and Chad Barry as assistant performance coach. Hawkins, the former LA Chargers assistant team dietitian 2023-24, will oversee nutrition services for the Vikings, including helping design player-specific nutrition, performance, and recovery plans. Distor is joining the Vikings after working in 2024 as a strength conditioning associate coach with the LA Rams. Prior to that, he was the associate head strength conditioning coach with the Houston Texans from February 2019 to March 2024. After more than a decade at Wake Forest 2013-24, Barry is joining the NFL ranks. Hawkins is a graduate of Purdue University and previously served as a sports nutrition fellow in 2022 for the Chargers. He'll work in collaboration with Minnesota's Health and Performance Department to provide optimal nutritional strategies for Vikings players and likely even head coach Kevin O'Connell. Hawkins was the subject of an Everything an NFL Dietitian Does on Game Day video shared 1 month ago by the Chargers, and in it disclosed LA coach Jim Harbaugh's halftime meal a plain hot dog. The video gives a glimpse of Hawkins' former role, which involved coordinating and executing nutrition operations, managing day-to-day nutrition logistics, including menu development and meal planning, as well as implementing nutrition injury recovery protocols and creating educational resources for players. Before entering the professional ranks, Hawkins earned bachelor's degrees in nutrition and dietetics and nutrition, fitness and health at Purdue. He gained hands-on experience with Purdue Sports Nutrition, assisting the operations of student-athlete fueling stations across campus from 2019-21, and progressed his career by serving as a dietetic intern for Duke University Sports Nutrition in the 2021 football season. In February 2024, the Chargers digital team spotlighted Hawkins as part of Black History Month. The most rewarding part of his job, he said, is aiding athletes' goals through optimal nutrition. I work with the players to help maximize their health, development, and sports performance, Hawkins explained, adding he was inspired in college to pursue becoming a sports dietitian. I got started by being an athlete myself and noticing the difference in my energy levels and performance depending on what I ate. I decided to study nutrition and exercise science at Purdue University, and the rest is history. Distor first entered the NFL in March 2016 as an assistant with the Chicago Bears, a role he held through January 2019, while earning his undergraduate degree in kinesiology from Arizona State. Distor interned with the Sports Performance Program. He graduated in 2014 and followed by earning a master's degree in exercise science with an emphasis on performance enhancement and injury prevention from Penn West, California, and worked with the UCLA football team as a graduate assistant. Distor earned a graduate certificate in exercise rehabilitation for sport injuries from Australian Catholic University in 2022. Barry first joined Wake Forest as Assistant Director of Sports Performance in December 2013 and was promoted to the Director for the Football Program in January 2021. In that role, he designed, implemented, and coached the football team's strength and conditioning program, emphasizing performance optimization and injury prevention, and worked closely with the sports medicine staff to establish return-to-play protocols. Barry graduated from Youngstown State University with his Bachelor of Science in Exercise Science and Human Performance in 2012. He finished his degree with an internship at Bowling Green State University, working in the Strength and Conditioning department. He was then hired full-time as an assistant strength and conditioning coach in May of 2012, leading the strength and conditioning programs for baseball, softball, men's and women's soccer, swimming, tennis, track field, and men's golf. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Vikes news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. 180 million QB emerges as Vikings logical. Choice amid Aaron Rodgers. News: the Minnesota Vikings have moved on from the notion of signing quarterback Aaron Rodgers to the roster this offseason, or at least they mostly have. General Manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah spoke with media members on Wednesday, March 26th, during which he all but closed the door on adding Rodgers behind or next to second-year signal caller J.J. McCarthy. While Adofo-Mensah left a crack in the door, through which Rodgers could potentially wiggle somewhere down the line, assuming he doesn't sign elsewhere before then, Minnesota's message was clear: McCarthy is going to be the man, save for some unforeseen circumstance. That left Vikings fans with the question of who will play second fiddle to McCarthy this summer, as he attempts to officially win a job the franchise wants him to have, but is going to make him earn through competition. Brett Rypien is the only other name currently in the QB room, and it's unlikely Minnesota will risk heading into the year with Rypien as the number 2 behind McCarthy, who has yet to take a regular season snap in the NFL. A handful of names that make sense remain available. In free agency, though, Joe Flacco has emerged as one of the front-runners and perhaps the most logical choice based on various QB situations around the league. Vikings reunion with Kirk Cousins unlikely. After offseason developments in Atlanta, ESPN's Kevin Seifert noted Flacco, Carson Wentz, and a reunion with Kirk Cousins as potential options for Minnesota in a March 19th report. Meanwhile, the Vikings have also spoken with Ryan Tannehill, who sat out all of last season in lieu of a starting job. Each player makes sense for Minnesota in a vacuum, but there are real challenges to the Vikings bringing in any of the other three. Cousins, for example, remains under contract with the Atlanta Falcons, who chose to keep him on the roster at the cost of a $10 million bonus earlier this month, rather than cut him loose and let him roam the free agency market. If the Falcons continue to hold firm in that position, the only way the Vikings can acquire Cousins is via a trade. That would cost a player and/or a draft asset, and then Minnesota would have to assume up to $5 million in salary cap costs. Cousins' base salary for 2025, depending on the deal the team could work out with Atlanta. That kind of money for Cousins is certain to be a non-starter in Minneapolis. Carson Wentz linked to Browns after Russell Wilson signs with Giants. Then there's Wentz, who backed up Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs last season. However, Wentz is just 32 years old and still looking for a chance to start somewhere in the league. Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland reported there is mutual interest between Wentz and the Cleveland Browns in a one-year deal that would afford the QB the starting opportunity he seeks. That agreement was contingent upon Russell Wilson landing elsewhere, which he did earlier this week by inking a one-year agreement with the New York Giants. That leaves Tannehill, who was credible during his 11 years as a starter. However, there isn't a long history of players sitting out a full season for any reason besides injury and returning to NFL success, particularly under center at the game's most difficult and important position. Tannehill will turn 37 years old approximately 1 month ahead of Week 1, which makes a rebound to his prior form even less likely. The Tennessee Titans benched Tannehill in favor of Will Levis in the middle of the 2023 campaign following an ankle injury. Joe Flacco fits Vikings needs behind J.J. McCarthy. Flacco is 3 years older than Tannehill, but he has played more recently and to greater success. Flacco led the Browns to a 41 record down the stretch in 2023, landing the team in the playoffs. He then caught on with the Indianapolis Colts in 2024 and started 6 games, 8 total appearances, actually usurping second-year QB and former number 4 overall pick Anthony Richardson as the starter based on play alone, not because of injury. Indy eventually went back to Richardson, but Flacco has shown over the past 2 seasons that he still has the arm to get the job done when called upon. His demeanor and experience could combine to provide the perfect mentor insurance policy for McCarthy in Minnesota. Beyond that, Flacco has earned over $180 million in his career, meaning the Vikings can likely secure him at a reasonable price. Spotrac projects Flacco's market value at $2 million on a new one-year deal. And now, Vikings fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters. A lot for Vikes. I'll be back any moment with more Vikings news. Skol, Vikings!